Welcome, everyone. Welcome all our guests to our virtual Young Professionals event. This is something that we've done in person every year during Ramadan. Last year, unfortunately, with COVID, we weren't able to do anything. But this year, we say, you know what? Even if we do it virtually, we still want to do it. And thanks to our mutual friend, Muhammad Okta, which many of you know from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Tone and I, we were able to touch base and get to know each other. And we look forward, brother, to have you out here in person. Have you ever been to Oklahoma before?
Nah, man, I got to get out there, man. I got to get out there. I got a lot of love for Oklahoma, but that's one of the few places I haven't been. So we definitely, inshallah, want to make it happen. Soon as you guys got some leeway, I want to get out there and meet everybody.
Inshallah, man. You could check with Imam Sohaib Webb. I know you know him well. You can check with Councilman Bashir Jones. Moses a comic. We take care of people in Oklahoma. So we look forward to having you out here.
Inshallah.
So, I know some of the people on tonight's program, they know you, they're familiar with you. And I'll be honest, how I got to know you at first, I don't really remember. I was on Instagram and I think you was tagged in some photos. And I remember I saw you went up to Masjid Taqwa and you was hanging out with like Imam Sohaib and stuff like that. And so I started like, who's this guy? And then I didn't even know. I saw the movie Creed, but I didn't even know you were in Creed, until after I saw you on Instagram, started following you and all the good stuff you were doing. And I had to go do some research, but I don't really feel like I could do it justice. So how about I allow you to introduce yourself for the audience real quick, inshallah.
Inshallah. The best way I can introduce myself is obviously they see your shirt, they see my shirt. My name is Tone Trump. I'm the leader of a movement called the Muslim Don Family. I don't even like to say I'm the leader of it. I'm a member of it because we're all leaders. Everybody that's a part of my movement. Muslim Don, it always right away grabbed people's attention because people would say, well, what is a Muslim Don? Well, it's an acronym. We use it to catch the eye. Obviously, people see the way I look and people see the tattoos. And to be honest, a lot of people around me look similar to me. So when they see Muslim Don, they had a lot of perceptions. For us, the Don stands for Deen over negativity, which is us taking our life from a place in this dunya where we were doing things that were negative to now us, following and practicing our deen and, us displaying a different level of maturity and adab and character and coming from, rough environments and coming from a rough past and creating a better future. That's basically what my movement is about. I'm from the streets of West Philadelphia and, I'm a proud, unapologetic Black Muslim who takes a lot of pride in, one of the things my uncle told me who wore Islam to my family, he said, you don't have to wear Islam on your sleeve, you wear it in your heart. Well, with my movement, we've decided to wear it in our heart and on our sleeve. And at a time where a lot of people maybe were, very bashful about their Islam after post 9/11 and different things like that, we took a whole different approach and we just were very proud, very loud, and, wanting to be heard. And I kind of been thrusted to the forefront of the movement because I do music. And like you said, I've done films and different things like that. I call myself the greatest hustler alive. If you Google greatest hustler alive, I come up. And when we say hustler, we mean it in the most, mogul, executive, business wise, we take street terms like Muslim Don and hustler and we put a positive spin to it. So basically that's what I do with my movement. And I'm just like anybody else, man. I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a praying, striving Muslim. A lot of my mistakes, I'm very open about, and I use them to teach people, not to be, braggadocious about my past, but to use it to, to show Allah's mercy. And, one of the great sheikhs always told me, he said, me just being in the mosque is so much dawah. People see me and have so many different questions, and depending on what mood I am, I like to answer them in different ways and educate people. And that's the best way I can introduce myself, man. I'm just a guy who's out here really just trying to put on for my people and put on for the ummah in general. You know what I mean? Like, I love those, even those who question my image and what I got going on. And I still love and defend and fight for them too. So, this is something that people have never really seen before. And hopefully I can open doors for other young Black brothers that's coming up who want to place not only into the, the business world, but into the ummah. And just, one of the things I say is we're not going to beg nobody to love us. So we're just going to keep working and keep praying and keep striving and keep giving back and keep rebuilding our communities and inshallah, we come together and increase dialogue, because it's a lot of different things within this ummah that aren't beautiful, as far as racism and different things. And
Right.
if we can bridge some of those gaps, inshallah, I think it's all worth it. So that's the best way I can introduce myself without seeming too arrogant and bragging. That's a tough one.
Beautiful.
Normally I would have been bragging about myself for a half an hour, but I'm gonna take the humble approach on this one with my OKC family.
Alhamdulillah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's a beautiful introduction. And, absolutely, that's something that I noticed, when I follow you on social media, is just this positivity about being Muslim. And that's what I love, because growing up, I didn't have that, especially growing up in Oklahoma in the late 90s, early 2000s, of course. We dealt with a lot of challenges post 9/11 as well, but we didn't have this intense pride in Islam. I think we were kind of shy and bashful about it. And it was a struggle. I tell people that I found Islam when I was 17 years old. It was a few years before 2001. And I had to find Islam again post 9/11 because I went through a lot of challenges, and that kind of
Right.
brings me to my next question. It doesn't take a lot of, research into your social media and your past with your music and stuff to know that you come from a past where you was dealing drugs and you was into, you had some gangster rap and stuff like that. And everybody has their own path to faith. I talk about my path all the time, and I tell people my story, how, I met Imam Sohaib Webb by chance in the Edmond Mosque. He invited me to a youth program. I really wasn't interested, but I showed up. And one thing led to another. And alhamdulillah, it's just kind of, Islam grew on me. It felt right. It was what I was searching for. But one thing I wanted to ask you, and I was thinking it could be something very inspirational for each and every one of us who are, and there's some young people struggling with their faith. What brought you to faith? What brought you to really embrace Islam with your heart and really just, be so proud of being Muslim?
I think for me, it was like I was living a life that was spiraling out of control. I had signed the record deal. I thought around 2012, I thought like all my prayers were answered. I got the record deal. I signed, I had signed a deal with Young Jeezy, who at the time, Young Jeezy, when I was coming up, he was one of my favorite rappers. He was rapping a lifestyle. He was rapping a lifestyle I was familiar with. I felt like it was the perfect situation for me. I was on top of the world. I'm thinking I'm about to be a millionaire. All my problems going to go away. And what I realized is, I received some money, I received some fame, but I didn't have any internal peace. So it's like I was constantly chasing this high of money and fame and women and all these different things that come with being a rapper. And I was realizing it was empty. At the end of the day, it was empty. You get a certain amount of money, and then you don't feel any fulfillment. You get the dream girl and you don't feel any fulfillment. You get I had the condo I thought I wanted, I was my dream home, and it was no fulfillment. And I kept feeling like I was hitting that ceiling of like, what's more? And for me, it was the birth of my son about 8 years ago. I was in a relationship with a female when she got pregnant. And at that point in my life, it's just like I really needed and wanted something more. And I wanted to be able to offer something more to my child. And there was nothing in this worldly affairs that, there was no amount of money or no designer clothes or no car or no house or no, famous friend that would give me the fulfillment to be the father and the leader I needed to be for my child. And for that, I started to find myself wanting to pray more and leaning on my faith and leaning on my Lord and asking God to reveal different things to me. And as he revealed those things to me, it became clear to me that I had to make a step. If you walk towards the law, he'll flee towards you, he'll run towards you. So as I started to make those steps towards the law, a lot of my answers were being answered, through things I was reading and just opening up books. And like you said, for you, somebody like Suhaib Webb, who I love dearly, by the way, let me mention that. He's a very good friend and a mentor of mine. So, different people come into our lives almost like angels and like prophets in a way, not calling them the prophet, obviously, but they come into our way as reminders. The reminder benefits the believer. So I would have different people come into my life. I had a brother named Kasib who invited me to Friday prayer one day, and he kept inviting me. And finally I went and I loved it. I listened differently this time. And, all my life, you kind of go, when my dad would make me go to Friday prayer, it was one thing, you know, you're in there, you're not really listening. But this time I was going by choice.
Right.
And I listened differently, you know, and I was able to receive it differently. And it felt like everything the Imam was saying that Friday was about me, you know, especially when you live in wrong. And I don't care if you go to church or you go to the mosque, the preacher or the Imam, the cook bar is going to feel like he wrote it with a picture of you on his desk. So it was like everything this man was saying at the time, it felt like he was talking directly to me. And one of the things he kept mentioning was the importance and the power of praying. No matter what you're involved in, no matter what you're into. And at the time I was into a lot of things, but he kept mentioning you have to pray. To get out of that state, you have to pray. And I started implementing that in my life. And slowly but surely I was praying my way out of the things I was involved in. And, you know, I plan and you plan, but Allah is the best of all planners. So I saw his plan developing and his purpose. And the reason why I'm on this call now is simply and only because of Allah. You know what I mean? In his decree. So this has been a gradual process and steps and steps and steps, mashallah. So that's the best way I can answer that.
Beautiful. I love what you said just right there at the end. It's a gradual process, you know, and I tell people that too. Faith is not something like, it's not like I was standing outside the masjid and the clouds open and some light shone down upon me. That's in movies, right? That's not reality. The reality is that it's a gradual process of growing in our faith, and we're still growing. I mean, none of us are perfect, you know. I mean, people see you on social media, alhamdulillah, you got the big following, you use it to try to spread some positivity. I'm the director of a CAIR chapter, but we're not perfect. We're just human beings at the end of the day, and we're struggling to do our best. And you know, I think that makes me wonder, you know, what advice do you have for people who may be struggling with faith? You know, because you stepped away from a lifestyle, obviously you had to step away from some people and certain things in order to make those changes. And I've been through that too. But what advice do you have for people in trying to make that journey and trying to take those steps in the right direction?
I think the first thing is we have to be honest with ourselves. I think a lot of times we lie to ourselves and we make excuses to ourselves. I think you got to be honest. Like if you take a step back, like if you're somebody who's deciding to get closer to your faith, and let's say you're somebody who drinks, you got to put that drink down sometimes to really see yourself clearly. You got to put that blunt down. You got to put that weed down. You got to put that cigarette down. You got to step back from that girlfriend you got to step back from that internet. We all got different devices. We all got different things where we can't lie to ourselves. It's one thing to lie to others, but when you start lying to yourself, that's when it gets really tricky. And that's one of the things when I was stuck into that dunya, I would lie to myself. I would say, all right, man, I'm gonna get it together. All right, man, like next week. You know what I mean? I'm about to get on my deen. We start convincing ourselves, you know, we don't want to be fake. We don't want to be fake Muslims. So it's like, well, I don't want to, you know, pray and then still do this stuff. No, you got to pray while you're doing that stuff. You got to commit to yourself. You got to literally say to yourself, yo, starting in the morning, I'm gonna start making fudge. Take it one day at a time. Pray that Fajr prayer in that morning and see how your day go. Pray Dora. You know, say to yourself, okay, I missed Fajr. Let me start with this prayer. You know, I'm up every day around 11 anyway. Let me make this my first prayer. Let me balance it around that. Because I'm lying to myself. Without prayer, there will be no success. There may be temporary success. There may be things that fool you to think you're being successful, but there is no true success without Allah. I know some of the most miserable millionaires you can ever see. You know, I've reached a level of celebrity where I've been around everybody. I've met everybody you can name, bro. Like I've been in rooms with Jay-Z. I've partied with Jay-Z and Kanye West. I've done an album with CeeLo Green. I've worked with 50 Cent. I've worked with Ice-T. You know, I've been on the set of Law and Order. I've shooting Creed and working with Michael B. Jordan, working with Ryan Coogler, who also directed Black Panther. You know, this is the highest level of Hollywood. You know, if you want to talk sports, I've worked with NBA champions, NFL superstars. I've worked with people of all different walks of life. The most peaceful people are people who have faith, not who have money. I've met some rich people who are going nuts inside. We see rich people all the time commit suicide. You can't connect mental health and mental well-being with wealth. You can't connect happiness with wealth. Don't get me wrong, man. Money makes us all happy. It makes us all happy, but it doesn't give us happiness. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. If I get a check tomorrow for $1 million, I'm happy. But that check can bring me a lot of stress within this dunya. when I got $1 million, my family thinks I got $10 million. You know what I mean? So the pressure that comes with that, my neighborhood thinks I got $10 million. Everybody, no, you can't tell nobody no. So a lot of, the great Biggie Smalls said, more money, more problems. That's true. You know what I'm saying? So it starts with that eternal peace, and that eternal peace comes from your solace and praying. And for those that may be sitting here, you may not know Arabic fluently. Sometimes a simple prayer is you talking to your Lord within yourself. Dear Lord, I ask you to guide me. Dear Lord, I ask you to open my eyes to what's going on. Dear Lord, please take the people out of my life that aren't good for me. Start with small prayers to yourself, and go from there. I'm not saying you have to have you have to know, every, surah or hadith by heart. You don't have to be a hafiz to talk to your Lord. So that's the thing I want to stress to the young people, especially listening, man. Start that off with a conversation with your Lord. Build that bond with your Lord. Start talking to God. I just got back from Ethiopia, man, and I spoke to these children. And one of the things, these children had so much love for the Quran. And one of the reasons they have love for the Quran, because they're believing what they're reading. They're believing what they're listening to. Sometimes we lose hope and we lose faith, and we don't realize that. We're reading things, we're reading that Quran, and we're just going through the motions. I pick up this beautiful book, and if I just pick up this book and I go, that's reading it. But if I sit with this book and I read this passage right here, Surah Yasin, and if I read this and I really understand what I'm reading, that's the importance of Tawheed too, like understanding what you're reading. And, that can get deep, but that's why I try to tell people the importance of understanding what you're listening to and what you're reading, so you can receive it properly. Right. It'll heal your heart differently. It'll guide you differently. And that's one of the big steps into all of this, inshallah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And like you, I know some people who walked away from a lot, and they said that Islam could only bring them happiness. Back in the day, I had the pleasure of spending some time with Brother Muta, Napoleon from Tupac's Outlaws. And I remember, that was something I really needed as a young person, because I looked up to Tupac. I grew up in the 90s and he was an idol of mine. And to meet Napoleon and just to, or Muta, and to talk to him and to see the transformation he went through, and how he told me that lifestyle, like you're saying, is not what we should strive for. It really just changed my whole perspective. But, that brings me to think about the recent conversion of Stephen Jackson. Right. I know you was involved with that, and I listened to him, and it was beautiful. But I want to let you talk first. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Stephen Jackson? Of course, NBA champion, still involved with the game in the Big Three, Ice Cube's league and everything. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Stephen Jackson and kind of what led to his conversion? Because you probably know a lot better than I do.
Man, I love that brother, man. He's a true leader. He's a leader for, the Ummah now as well. He was already a leader. He got thrusted into the role of a civil rights leader, with the untimely and unfortunate death of his very close friend, George Floyd. Right. We all as Black Americans, and we all as the world, felt the kinship to George Floyd. Seeing what happened to him, it kind of brought the world together. It brought a lot of people together, Muslims and non-Muslims, who, for whatever reason, this particular police killing affected everybody differently. Right. And obviously it affected our brother Stephen Jackson even more so, because he was great friends with George Floyd, to the point where they called each other twins. So for me, our relationship is pure brotherhood, man. The brother reached out to me. I was honored to have him even call me. He called me up and said, he said, brother, I want to take Shahada, man. I want to do it with you. I want to come to Philadelphia. And I mean, this is a brother who could have called anybody, and anybody would have loved to welcome him. So for me and my team, and, the Muslim Don family, and, bringing him to the masjid, the local masjid, it was a big look. And, he brings so much eyes and attention, to our Ummah and to the beauty of our Ummah. And, for him to say, and all his, he's been a part of so many different things. He was a McDonald's All-American with Kobe Bryant in high school. He was an NBA world champion with the likes of Tim Duncan and Coach Popovich. And for him to say that, the best day of his life was when he took Shahada. Wow. That shows you the beauty of Islam and the beauty of our brotherhood. Because I was really proud, somebody who signed numerous multi-million dollar contracts, and
Mm.
he's still winning awards now for his award-winning podcast. And for him to say his best day and his biggest day was, becoming into the fold of Islam, that should let us all know that we're a part of something so special. We're a part of a fraternity that's bigger than the NBA or hip hop or any of that. And that fraternity is the brotherhood and the sisterhood of Al Islam. So we should all watch it and listen and feel so much pride in that, because somebody new to our dean can see that. Sometimes we get comfortable in this. This is a very elite club, bro. Even though it's 1 billion Muslims worldwide, there's trillions of people worldwide. So for those that Allah has chosen to be a part of this perfect, because no Muslim is perfect, but Islam is perfect. So for you to be a part of this elite, it's like being in high school. Everybody wasn't on the football team. Everybody wasn't on the basketball team. Everybody wasn't a cheerleader. So to be a part of this ultimate in crowd, which is being Muslim, which is being a part of Islam, seeing, an NBA world champion, being so excited to embrace this deen should let us all know how beautiful this religion is, and how honored we should all feel to be a part of it. Stephen is my brother. He's embracing a leadership role now within Islam as well. So we trying to get him up to speed, and obviously it's obligatory for him to seek beneficial knowledge, and he's doing that. He's learning, he's studying every day. He's learning his prayers, he's learning his Arabiya, he's learning, about Islam more and more, true Islam more and more every day, mashallah. And I just ask Allah to continue to guide him, and ask all those listening and watching to keep him in your sincere du'as. He's a gem for the ummah, and not just because he's a famous basketball champion, but because he's just a great brother. And even before Islam, he truly believed in wanting for his brother what he wants for himself. And now he's even embracing it even more. So I ask Allah to continue to guide him and make him be a benefit to the ummah, to his family, and to humanity, inshallah.
I mean, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, maybe we can have you both out to Oklahoma. We have you.
We got it. We got to do it. We're actually putting together like a speaking tour, a big halal speaker tour with me and him. So inshallah, we would definitely love to visit Oklahoma for sure.
All right. Consider it done. We'll make it happen.
Inshallah, let's do it.
So, as you're talking, it's pretty obvious. People can see, you have the face tattoos, you have the hand tattoos, and for people watching, I remember that's one thing that stood out to me when I met Brother Napoleon back in the day. Somebody asked him about his tattoos, and it was actually like a young Arab kid that was admiring them, and he said, "Don't admire these, right? These aren't cool. These are from my days of Jahiliyyah. These are from my days of ignorance, and I regret that I ever got those." But I'm not asking if you regret having them. I want to ask, has that been a challenge for you? You've got the tattoos. It's not hard for people to go back and listen to your old music and question, hey, you still got this music on there that's not the same as reflecting what you do now. Do you find that to be a challenge? Do people bother you about it? Because me personally, it's not an issue. I was born and raised not in Oklahoma, I was born in Kansas, but in America. So I think for a lot of us, second generation, first generation, second generation, it's not an issue. But I do realize we have a big immigrant community that sometimes judges people before they get to know them. So could you touch on that a little bit?
I think it's such. I don't know if I'm on this interview if I don't have the face tats and the hand tats. I feel like it's made me such a unique member of this ummah and this community. I've become a voice and a face for many like me. And what I think the thing in denial about social media is when people act like they're so shocked to see me. Maybe they're shocked to see somebody reach the levels I'm reaching in the Islamic world. But I don't, you go to any masjid, especially in America, that has any African Americans, and even, reverts from America, period, because you'll see some white brothers in there and you'll see some Arab brothers in there who have tattoos. I went to Umrah with other brothers who had tattoos, and, that's part of our story. And, and for the reverts who have tattoos, they need a voice too. Everybody can't relate to Mufti Mink, bro. Everybody can't relate to Imam Suhaib Webb. Everybody can't relate to Imam Omar Suleiman. Everybody doesn't look like them. More people don't look like them than do look like them. If you come to North Philly, I prayed at Masjid Mukbil. There's more people that look like me in Masjid Mukbil than look like Mufti Mink. You know what I mean? So it's like, where do they go to? Where does a 17-year-old kid who got tattooed at 14, where does he see himself at within this ummah if I'm not there? So, and a lot of times for the people who are in my comments who may criticize, my tattoos or the way I dress and stuff like that, my message isn't really for them anyway. Like,
Mm,
you know, I have a specific message. I represent a specific group of people. It's like, you know, when you mentioned Councilman Bashir Jones, right? He's the councilman of the 7th district in Cleveland, Ohio. He
right.
doesn't really care what people in the 9th district probably have to say about the way he dresses because his constituents are in the 7th district.
Right,
My
right.
constituents have tattoos too. My constituents listen to rap music. My constituents use the gangbang. My constituents, some of them still sell drugs. My
Mm,
constituents, some of them still carry guns. So sometimes my face tats may be the thing that lets them let their guard down and listen to me to receive the dawah that I'm trying to give up. They may never listen to Suhab Web. It
mm,
just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So for some people that he may not be able to reach, I may be able to reach them,
mm.
inshallah. So, you know, my story is my story. My tattoos are my tattoos. And unlike Mutai, he said he doesn't think his tattoos are cool. Mine are very cool. So,
I
so,
love it,
so,
man.
you know, I'm not ashamed of anything. Like in Islam, we are taught to conceal our sins. We
Mm,
shouldn't be arrogant about our mistakes and our sins. So, you know, I don't want to be arrogant about it, but I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm a big old Muslim Don. I'm a big old Muslim halal speaker. I
mm,
represent a very unique a set of people, and they love me, bro, and they champion me, and they understand me, and I understand them. So for every comment somebody's saying, but he has tattoos, there's 100 comments of people saying, man, this brother's the reason I get up for fudge every morning, or this brother's the reason for this, or this brother's the reason for that, mashallah. And I give all praise and due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you know, the reminder benefits the believers. So if I'm able to remind a brother who looks like me that, hey, still pray those 5, bro, no matter what you got going on, that means more to me than somebody from the suburbs talking about my tattoos or the way I dress.
I love it, man. And your story is your story. That's very
Right.
important, you know.
And I
And
got and I
I,
gotta be authentic, man. I gotta be
that's
who I
right.
am.
That's right, and I'm in complete support of that because the idea of having to erase a part of who we are because some people don't like it is just not going to work, right? We have to be authentic to ourselves so we can be authentic publicly, and I'm with that 100%. And hold on, let me get somebody in the waiting room here. You know, I'm a big fan of hip hop music, always have been. You know, everything from Nas to Lupe Fiasco, Jay-Z. Of course, you know, nowadays I'm a little bit more selective about what I listen to. But that being said, you know, I'm always, you drop that new track, I'm on it. You know, I love the ones you dropped last year, Survivor, Jungle, they were beautiful. And one of my favorites is Black Jesus. I mean, that I listen to that one all the time. Talk a little bit about your music and how you decided to, you know, what went into your decision to shift from the content you were doing before to using your talent to spread a positive message.
I think a lot of it has to do with my reality. So my reality changed. So when I was rapping about selling drugs, I was really selling drugs, or I was
Mm,
just coming from selling drugs. When I was rapping about shooting guns, I was shooting guns. And the same thing goes when I'm rapping about praying fudging, I'm really praying fudging.
mm,
When I'm rapping about, you know, respecting women, I'm really respecting women. When I'm making an effort not to curse in my music, that's because I'm not cursing in my regular life. So
mm,
my music is always a sign of my reality. So when I get on a song like Jungle and I say I pray fudge it and I'm back to trapping, that's my reality. I get up, I pray fudge it, and then I start working hard. So
mm,
when I say I'm back to trapping, I'm not talking about I'm back to selling drugs. I'm saying I'm back. I'm saying in a cool way, I'm back to chasing my dreams and working hard as I can to be
right.
able to pay my bills and take care of my family and be able to live a life that most only dream of, inshallah. And that's just my reality. So now when I go to make music, when I'm working on my new album, One Foot In, One Foot Out,
Mm,
that title is really my life. Like, you know, like I literally like at Fudger, I get a text from Suhab Webb, but Imam, saying, hey,
mm,
it's Fudger. And, you know, we sharing hadiths. And then an hour later, I can get a call from the state prison from somebody who's a convicted murderer.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So those are my realities. You know what I'm saying? So I can step out my house and I can go talk to some kids who are in gangs, and then and then I'm being paid to speak to an Ivy League college. You know what I mean? So that's the 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So you know, at 12 o'clock noon, I'm talking to a juvenile prison system for children, and then at 2 o'clock p.m., I'm with a scholar like Dr. Butch Ware, you know,
mm.
an intellectual, and we're doing a lecture with University of Pennsylvania. So that's my 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that's going to show in my music. That's going to show in the way I dress. That's going to show in the way I talk. And that's just my reality, mashallah. So my music now that you're hearing now is the reality of what's going on. So my new album, I got a song, Can I Dean? I'm talking about the struggle of wanting to be on my dean and still dealing with the temptations of the dunya. Those are my realities. So that's what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear me rapping about selling drugs as much because I don't sell drugs anymore. You know, that's not my reality. So my reality now is, you know, going to Africa and doing humanitarian work. So you'll hear me say lines about, hey, man, global, never local. I raised $1 million out in Africa. That's my reality. That's what we really doing. So that's how we carrying it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you talking about your trips to Africa. I know you went to Kenya and to Ethiopia, and I know you're very involved in the community, giving to the homeless, serving meals and doing things. I follow you on the Instagram and see that. What inspires you to community service? Because I mean, we talk a lot about how, you know, it's intrinsically part of Islamic faith, but I feel like there's something more to it than that, you know, because we can talk all day about how Islam says this and Islam says that, but Muslims ain't doing it, right? So what really has pushed you to be so involved with the community and to give back at home in the United States? I saw you in New York with Muslims of the World. You do stuff out in Philly, and then Ethiopia, Kenya. That's a commitment right there. So what brought you to that point, and what really pushes you to keep doing that day in and day out?
My mother inspired me. My mother, since I was a little boy, my mother always made it clear, like, you don't have to have much to give back. You know what I mean? So I watched my mother, even at times we didn't have much. She always found the way to still help others. And I think I've just taken that on, you know, even when I was at my worst in the dunya, I always had the, you know, the sensibility and the responsibility to look out for my people, to look out for my community. So even when I was destroying my community, I still had, you know, an effort. You know, I would see kids who didn't have much, and I would make sure they would have something, or, you know, feeding the, like you said, feeding the community. We're doing an toy drive right now where we're, you know, my goal is to make sure every kid in Philadelphia, you know, feels the, you know, especially, you know, a lot of times our Muslim kids got to see these kids celebrate Christmas and all this different stuff. I want them to know that the Eid and Ramadan is about this too. And I want them to feel that. And for the ones who can't afford to get some nice stuff, we want to make sure they get some nice stuff too. So I just feel like that's my responsibility as a leader, as a community. You can't be a community. I can't take all the good things that come with being, you know, popular and, you know, famous or whatever you want to call this, and not take on the responsibilities of uplifting and rebuilding my community. So because of my community, I'm getting, you know, they supported me before anybody. So they're the reason I'm able to go to Africa and stuff like that. So on my way to Africa, I can't fly over people that's struggling right in my backyard. I got to help them too, mashallah. So I feel like that's my responsibility. Like, I don't deserve any credit for doing the things I'm doing in my community. I feel like I am obligated to do that for my community. And it starts with my mother. My mother would pack an extra sandwich for me at lunch and say, if somebody don't have nothing to eat, you know, you make sure you give them something to eat. So when you instill that into your children early, it'll stay with them, inshallah. So my mother, you know, all props to my mom. And we, you know, with Muslim Down Family, my team, my movement, the first thing we believe in is giving back. It don't, you know, it don't cost no money to show love. So it's ways you can show love even without money. And Allah has blessed us with some money, so we got to do the right things with it. You know, if we selling merch and we doing different things like that, it's only right that we give back to our community, and we'll continue to do that more and more and more and more and more. It's probably nothing more important to me than doing that for the people in need.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And my last question might be the most difficult question, because we talked a lot about faith and you know, your inspirations and you know, your story. I want to segue to something a little bit different and on a broader level. The last year has been perhaps, I mean, of my life, you know, even though I've lived through a lot, you know, lived through, you know, growing up as a son of an Iranian immigrant. I lived through the Iranian hostage crisis, Iran-Iraq war, Gulf Desert Storm, then found Islam, 9/11, Islamophobia, you know, being rampant in the last 20 years. But yet, the last year of our lives with the start of the pandemic, I feel like has been one of the most difficult ones. And my friend Abdul El Sayed, who ran for governor of Michigan, he said something that really stuck with me. He said, 2020, we were dealing with two pandemics, the pandemic of COVID, but also dealing with the pandemic of racism. And of course, that's been something ongoing in our country for a long time. But the question is, for you, where do we go from here? You know, as Muslims in America and as Americans, we're dealing with racism, we're dealing with social injustices, we're dealing with a lot of issues coming at us fast and hard. You know, at times it seems like the world is great, but at times it seems like the world is crumbling around us. Where do you see us going from here as a country?
I think the first step we have to do as a ummah, let me, being this is a CAIR event, I'm the Muslim Don. I want to talk to the ummah first. I think with the ummah, I think the first step is admitting that we have a problem. I think the ummah is in denial. I think the Muslims are in denial. I think, we post about racism, there's always going to be that one person say something like, oh, there's no racism in Islam. You know, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that no Arab is better than a brown person, no brown. And they say all these different things, but that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is we have a very bad racism problem, a prejudice problem, a lack of educational problem, of sensitivity and different things within our ummah. And I think the first step is us admitting it. I think every non-black person that's Muslim has to say to themselves, what part do I play in this? Even if it's just a matter of just starting a dialogue up and giving dawah. And one thing, like I say, is we're not going to beg you to love us. So I'm not going to beg my Pakistani brothers or my Desi brothers or my Saudi brothers or my white American brothers or anybody to love us. I'm not going to beg that. I'm not going to beg for that. I'm not going to beg for that. But what I will say is, have some understanding, have some sabr, have some patience with each other. We have to have patience with our non-African Americans or our black brothers and sisters as well, because some of them genuinely don't know how to be helpful. We have to educate. We have to have sabr. Allah is with the patient. We have to be patient with each other, but we have to get back to the genesis of it. We have to admit that there's a big problem. One of the things I hear people bring up all the time is, the interracial dating. So people say, hey man, everybody loves us. So, one of their daughters wants to marry one of us. Now, I don't have that problem, but I hear that a lot within our community. So that's some things that we need to address. Why is that? Why is it that, people assume that, that this brother from African descent can't be a good husband to his daughter, or a good friend to that person's son, or a good leader for that community? We have a lot of, African-American leaders. I like to bring up Imam Jihad Safir from LA, who I feel like is a brilliant mind who gets ignored by this ummah. He's not regarded as highly as some of the other imams and sheikhs within this ummah. And I really feel like a lot of that is because of race. And I feel like he's somebody who can be a tool to the ummah to educate non-blacks on, how to treat and understand and listen, not just talk, but listen to the black Muslims. Even somebody like Councilman Bashir, he's somebody who can eloquently, speak on these things in a way that, non-blacks can understand and be a true ally and be a true brother and sister to their brothers in the ummah, because we need you guys right now, inshallah. And we need to all come together. We are stronger together. We have to ask ourselves why they don't want us unified. Why do they spend so much money and resources on keeping us divided? There's a reason why. And we have to figure that out. We have to truly, truly come together. Like I have a lot of non-blacks that I consider brothers and sisters, but I have a lot of brothers and sisters that are black who don't feel like they have any non-blacks they consider to be brothers and sisters. So we have to work on that, because people will treat me differently because I'm Tone Trump. That's just the facts. But I got brothers who aren't rappers and who aren't, doing the things I'm doing, who deserve that same love. Like I'll give a perfect example. When Steven Jackson took Shahada, it was a warm welcome for him. But a lot of brothers who look just like him, who aren't NBA champions, don't get that same warm welcome. And we have to ask ourselves, why is that? And when we get to the core of that, we'll get to the core of the issues. We'll be able to heal. We'll be able to be there for each other. And then we'll be able to come together. And then all of our issues will become our issues. So then when we talk about Palestine, or we talk about these cowards in France banning hijabs and different things like that, we can come together as one and be truly unified, inshallah, and get true victory against our oppressors worldwide.
It's beautiful.
Whether it be the police or the Zionists or whoever it may be.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I got a message from Mo Okta, our mutual friend. He said he's he said he's the top OC in Oklahoma.
Tell him I'm the top OC in Oklahoma officially now. After tonight, Oklahoma is mine too, man.
Yeah, Ogda, yeah.
That's my brother right there,
he'll be
man.
number
Shout out to my
2.
brother. That's my brother. I got a lot of love for that brother. That's a great brother right there.
Mashallah, mashallah. Talk a little bit. So as we're nearing the end of the program, talk a little bit about your clothing line. Where did the inspiration come from? You talked about how Dawn stands for Dean over negativity. Talk about where the inspiration came from, and what you're trying to accomplish with it.
One of the things it does is, man, it causes a lot of dialogue. So I got sweatshirts that says, just halal. And then people have to say, what's halal? You know what I mean? I got a shirt that has a believer in Arabic in there. That starts a lot of conversations. And, we have the anti-haram social club. So all these different things will literally cause dialogue, and we do it in a way that's fly. So it doesn't come off preachy like the shirt you have on right now. That font was inspired by Balmain, which is a high-end line. So your eyes are teased by it. You see it. It looks very familiar to somebody who's in a high fashion. So just bringing I call it the big halal drip. You don't have to look corny to represent your faith. So we bring a level of style and high. I call it designer merch. And take somebody like you, for example. You're somebody who normally you look like a basic Iranian American, and now you look like the hippest, flyest Iranian American in all of the land. So that's what we do with the drip and with the merch.
We call it Muslim swag. Call that Muslim.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. And we do it in a way where the youth and even some of our older brothers can have a sense of pride and feel good about it. Great quality, great message, and it looks cool too. And that's all a bonus. And like I said, it creates some great dialogue, and it also helps me finance the different things I want to do. So we don't have to do all just fundraising and begging. We're able to put out a great product and make money from it, and funnel some of that money back into the community, into other businesses and the other brands. Mashallah.
That's beautiful.
So it's the top merch line, period. Not just Muslim. Like when you think of rappers in my city alone, I got the best selling merch, and we take this on the road. We do merch pop-up tours. We just did Newark, New Jersey. We just did Baltimore, DC, and Harlem, New York, and it went really, really great.
Beautiful, beautiful. If people want to find out where they can purchase it, they get the link on your Instagram, right?
Yo, the link is in my bio. Also, we have a website, MuslimDonFamily.com, MuslimDonFamily.com. But the link is always in my bio on IG. You can go right to the link in my bio. I need everybody listening right now to go in there and support something, because it helps us out. It helps us do a lot of different initiatives within the schools and different things like that. We have a particular, this sweatsuit I have on now, and you get it in the Nipsey blue, and we donate $10 from each proceed to the Isla Academy in Crenshaw, which is Nipsey's old neighborhood. It's a Muslim school where, little Black children at the youngest 5 years old learning to recite Quran, and we're able to, help finance stuff like that. So we just do a lot of positive things, and I'm really proud of it, man. And it starts with the merch, and it starts with the dialogue, and non-Muslims are wearing it. People all over the world are wearing it. We ship all over the world. So every day, my guys are like, yo, we're sending it to countries we never even heard of. And it's creating dialogue. It's creating a movement that's never been seen like this before. I'm really proud to be, the face of it. I'm proud to just be a part of it, mashallah. And this is, it's so much bigger than Tone Trump. This is about all of us. So it's a dope vibe.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that we get into the end. It's almost iftar time over here in Oklahoma. So I know people are ready, to grub. But we talked about giving away some stuff. You still down to give some shirts away?
Hey man, only for you, man. We sell so much stuff. We don't got to give anything away, but just for you, just for Oklahoma, man. I would love to do that, man. So you get me their information, and we're going to get them dripped out with that big halal drip, the best halal drip, the best designer merch in the culture. We're going to get them squared away, inshallah.
Got it. So we randomly drew two names from our guest tonight. So and you don't have to. This wasn't like favoritism to the people watching, right? Natasha, my community outreach director, she's the one who did it. I randomly generated the number. She wrote down the names, so it was all random. So we got these gift cards here, $250 gift card, plus the Muslim Dawn shirts coming to you as well. So a little something, to help you out, with your Eid gifts, Eid shopping or whatnot. And then Muslim Dawn to make you look good. So the first winner is Tasneem Al-Michael. He's right there. He's celebrating. Brother Tasneem, man, Tone, when you come out here, I'm going to introduce you to Tasneem because this is my brother from Bangladesh. He came over here as a baby, and his story is amazing. He's a DACA recipient, and he has been like a leader amongst young people, and he's super involved in politics. So Brother Tasneem is our first recipient.
Alhamdulillah.
And our second recipient is none other than my sister, somebody, again, who I can't wait to introduce you to, Sister Deborah Bonetta, who will also get a gift card and Muslim Dawn shirts. And Sister Deborah is a rock star in our community. You know, we call this a young professionals event, and she is young at heart, and she is always on the go. Like, she's got the energy of 10 of me and 10 of you. I don't even know how she does it. And she's out serving. She ran our food pantry. She ran a resource center for women and children in need, providing them with diapers and rent assistance and formula. And now we're working together, and we're actually establishing a partnership to help our brothers and sisters, what she likes to call behind the wall. Our incarcerated brothers and sisters, provide them with Qur'ans, hijabs, prayer rugs, dates, you know, to break their fast, eat gifts.
Keep me posted on that, because I definitely want to help out. We do that kind of work too, and that's close to my heart. That's close to my heart. So I want to support this sister in that in any way I can. You know, maybe I can send some other stuff out to her, inshallah, because that's definitely close to my heart. And we do a lot of that work too. We just supplied a prison. I'm out here with prayer rugs and with kufis, and mashallah, that's something that's really close to my heart and close to everybody in my movement heart. So we definitely want to do that.
Then we'll get together. We'll talk about it because we're in the processes of doing that. Inshallah, we'll get together. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, brother, for joining us. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for sharing with us with such honesty and such confidence, you know, the beautiful story you have, as well as advice for how we can live the best life, inshallah, especially during this blessed month of Ramadan.
Man, I want to thank y'all for having me, man. I want to close out with a dua and just ask Allah to, you know, to let everybody know that anything I said good comes from Allah, anything otherwise came from me. I want to ask Allah to truly bless everybody that was a part of this speaking, everybody listening, to forgive me, forgive the Ummah, forgive all of us, and to just guide us all, to protect us all, and to keep us on the correct path, and for us to be a brother and a sister to each other, not only during this beautiful month, but all the way around the year and all the way around the board. We have to connect with each other. You know, it's important for Tone Trump to know what's going on in Oklahoma. It's important for you guys to know what's going on here, because we can't just say one Ummah, we have to live it. And I ask Allah to, you know, have mercy on us all and to continue to guide everything you guys are doing. And please stay in touch with me, man. I look forward to working with you all more in the future, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen.
And we look forward to, inshallah, next year, we're going to plan on it and we're going to pray on it to have you in person here in Oklahoma, inshallah.
Inshallah, man. I can't wait to get out there, man. I love y'all. Assalamu alaikum. And send me the information so I can get it to my guys. I'm going to send some stuff over. I'll send it to you, and then I'll send a couple extra so you can bless some people out there, man, and show them the love from us.
Inshallah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tone, and thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Have a beautiful
evening. I love y'all.
Alaikum salam.